Hello and welcome to Encore. Coming up in the show.
I'm sure you've heard this story about the man who moved to America with $1 in his pocket. And he worked so hard and he made a fortune. I moved here with a fortune.
My guest today is a megastar here in France and an idol in his native Morocco. In the US, they used to call him the French Jerry Seinfeld, but we think it'll soon be Jerry who's nicknamed the American Gad Elmaleh. His show, American Dream, is entirely in English and it's earned him thousands of new fans in the States. Gad joins us in the studio to tell us more. Gad Elmaleh, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. That's really funny. Thanks for having me.
Your latest show is called American Dream. It's showing on Netflix, and that's precisely what you did. You struck out on your own and pursued that dream, doing comedy in English, starting in little clubs in New York. Now you've been there for a while. What have you learned about what makes Americans laugh?
I've learned that the thing they like the most is maybe the thing, obviously, they could relate to. And when I first arrived there, I thought I would just have to translate my strong French material, but it was not a good idea. And I started to write about them. It was my perspective on the Americans, on the American life, on the culture, and they really enjoyed it because, you know, it's just like every people in all the people in every countries, we don't see what's the closest to us, you know. When some friends, Americans, come to Paris, they show me things and I'm like, oh yeah, you're right, because it's their perspective. And this is what I do over there. And I have to say, I've been really surprised by how they received the jokes.
Well, I think we could say that you've mastered America, but at first it was difficult. Let's take a look.
When I first moved to New York, I really enjoyed to be anonymous. It's very interesting to be very famous in one part of the world and totally anonymous in New York City. First days, I was enjoying it so much. Just walking down the street, oh my God, that's great. I can do whatever I want. Nobody's bothering me. 3 days later, I was like, what the hell is going on? I was Googling myself at night.
So you were anonymous?
Yeah, I'm still quite, yeah.
Okay, so you weren't a native speaker of English, and that's quite a humbling experience when you don't master a language yet. What was your most embarrassing mistake in English at first?
Wow. I don't know. I just, a lot of misunderstanding sometimes. And the thing for French speakers, it's the most difficult thing is the emphasis, the stress we put in the words. That was the most difficult thing. I remember telling to a friend that I was going on vacation, and he said, "What's that?" And I tell it in the show, and it's like, and then he said, "You mean in vacation?" And I said, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, meet me halfway. You know what I'm talking about, you know?" And it's all about this, you know. Sometimes changing just one letter, you know, or if you mispronounce. It's really interesting.
It's funny you mention emphasis, because I've got a little quiz for you. I would like you to turn over that card and read out the words on it with the correct stress.
Refuse, no? Or refuse? No, refuse. Yeah, I got it. Refuse. Project. Invalid. Conduct. Converse. Console. Development is the hardest. Development.
Excellent.
Development.
Thank you very much.
Desert. The desert.
Okay, well, we can see that you can
That's
speak...
not fair. That's hard. I'm not here for an exam. I'm here to have a good time with you.
Okay, well, I think we can say that you speak English in your show fluently,
Yeah.
but we wanted to check if you speak English that well in real life. So here's what we found out.
On a une petite rivalité sur l'accent anglais, Gad et moi. Et il a un excellent accent anglais. Et d'ailleurs, je suis très jaloux parce qu'il a un très bon accent anglais. Et I'm a bit jealous about his accent. I can say.
Jealous, not jealous.
So
He's doing well. He's doing really well. My brother came to New York recently to see the show, and then we hung out in clubs, and then no, he's learning very. But I'm the older brother.
Okay,
I have
so
to keep the authority,
you've
right?
got the upper hand. Now, in terms of pronunciation in English, you don't have to pronounce everything perfectly because Jean-Paul Sartre went to New York in the 1940s and he said that 2 phrases are necessary for a whole evening of English conversation. That is, scotch and soda and why not? By alternating them, it's impossible to make mistakes. What are your emergency phrases?
Jean-Paul Sartre say this?
Sartre
Oh
said
my
that.
God, I'm not going to compare myself to Jean-Paul Sartre. I think that not the emergency, but I have to say that the things that work all the time is there's one thing when people say hi to you, they ask you automatically, hey, how are you? Even if you don't know someone, you're like, how are you? And immediately you connect with the people. Even if it's sometimes superficial, it's great, you know. Hey, how are you? And then, really? You don't know me. And it's kind of, sometimes it's like over, maybe too nice, but it's sweet. I like that.
Okay.
You know, then in stores, like sometimes it's even too much. Like, hey, if you need anything, please feel free to ask. I'll be more than happy to help you. I like more than happy. That's funny.
It's quite American as a concept.
More than happy. American people, you're a little bit excessive with the language. How can you be more? I cannot even imagine how you would look like to be more than happy.
Okay. Well, you've touched on your family background in your material before.
Yeah.
We saw your brother there, and you're very close to your parents. Your
Yeah, a lot.
dad pops up in this show as well. Let's take a look at this clip.
When I was a kid in Morocco, my father used to take me to the ocean. He would stand in front of the ocean and point out across the ocean and say, look, my son, if you take a boat and you go straight ahead, you will reach America. And I've always been wondering if on the other side of the ocean there was an American father with his little son. I don't know, telling him about the Moroccan dream. Daddy, what's there? I have no idea.
Okay, so we all know what the American dream is. I think you're a good example of it. What's the Moroccan dream?
Oh, the Moroccan dream is to stay real, maybe, and to travel and discover the world without never ever forgetting your roots. I am able to do this because of my roots, my culture, and my background. I was born in Morocco, born and raised. So even if I am in the States, in France, I never forget this. This is who I am. But this part of the show is a message, and by the way, I'm sending to kids in Morocco and everywhere about the possibility of really accomplishing and réaliser, how you say.
Realizing, achieving.
Yeah, achieving your dream. And I really believe in that anything is possible, really, if you believe it.
Mm-hmm. Well, most people in North America see you as a kind of exotic, charming French import. But the two cultures don't always get on so well. Recently, a French waiter was fired from a restaurant in Canada for being rude and disagreeable. And he said that this was discrimination against his culture. Has he got a point?
I think this guy is funny. I think this guy is really funny. I didn't know this. I think it's really funny. It's a way of defending himself. I think it's really funny. I would not. I don't want to go in those cliches because I've known some very sweet and nice Parisians and some rude and whatever Californians, and yeah, the cliche is true, but I don't agree totally. But this guy is smart.
Now, the American dream, as you put it, is pretty dependent on capitalism, and you've said that you've been really impressed by how hard Americans work. Do you think that's where we're going wrong in Europe? We're a bit lazy.
Well, I'm not sure. I was talking to my sister a few days ago. She's a writer. She's a very funny and smart woman, and she said to me something really funny. She said, "Americans it's all about marketing." And I said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "If French people had invented hamburgers, they would have been the best, but no one would have ever heard about them in the world. And she said, that's how they're really strong. Just a piece of steak and 2 slices of bread, and it's worldwide because they have a great marketing. That's the funny part of it. But to be honest, the way they work, they're hard workers, very hard workers. They're not ashamed to talk about success, ambition. We have a problem with this in Europe, not only in France. We kind of, we're gonna stay small. It's good, but we have the charm, the culture, and healthcare.
Ah, yeah, that's a big question. One last thing quickly. You spend your days making people laugh, working very hard.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that's guaranteed to make you laugh?
Oh, to make me laugh? My kids, they make me laugh when they want to be funny and silly. And I think the surprise in life make me laugh. I don't laugh at jokes. I laugh at surprising things. I go to a restaurant with a woman. She's beautiful, and we're on a date. If she goes like this and does that she makes my night.
Yeah. Absurdity of life.
Yeah.
Gad, thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having
me. Now you can catch Gad's latest show, American Dream, on Netflix. We'll leave you with a little preview. Do remember to check out our website, and you can also keep up with Encore on social media too. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
So the guy said to me at customs, "What's the purpose of your trip to the U.S.?" "I'm here to live the American dream." He said, "We don't do this anymore."
This is the American dream, ladies and gentlemen. Come on! This is my American dream.